Hello there. Welcome to yet another edition of the Mixtape Podcast, the podcast dedicated to discussing film from a screenplay writer's perspective. I'm your host for this week. My name is Marcelo Nestroza, joined as always by my fellow co host, Dean Stark. And on this edition of the show, we will be discussing the 1977 film Saturday Night Fever.
This is
Fuck!
this is my favorite opening ever. Keep going.
So, with that in mind, as we do every week, I will kick it off to my co host, Dean, so she can take us through this interesting, groovy film scene by scene. So, Dean, take it away.
You know, when I was watching this, all I wanted to do was sign up for a disco dance class. I was like, is there a disco class? Like, honestly, it's one of those movies because of the dancing and the music. It just wants it, I don't know. For me, it made me want to go out and fucking boogie to this kind of music. But like Marcelo said, Saturday Night Fever 1977, directed by John Badham. Badham, I think that's how you say it. Written by Nick Cohen or Cohen. Oh, fuck, I'm so bad with
Cohen.
pronouncing. Is it? Okay, we'll just leave it with
Cohen.
that. Cohen. And Norman Wexler. So, anxious about his future after high school, a 19-year-old from Brooklyn tries to escape the harsh reality of his life by dominating the dance floor at a local disco. Yeah.
Hold on. Anxious to escape his future after high school? We're going to get into that, but I don't believe that at all. But go ahead.
Anxious about his future. He was.
Really?
Yeah, we'll get into
Are you
it. Oh
serious?
yeah.
I did.
Oh yeah.
I did not get that at all. But let's get into it.
Let me tell you something about this movie. Not you, not the viewers. This movie is very, very convoluted. For the time, it would have been off the charts. But if you watch it now, there's a lot going on in this movie that doesn't need to be there because we review from a screenwriter's perspective, right? There's about three or four different storylines that are going on
that can be just thrown out.
There's so many subplots. And a subplot, if for the people out there that don't know, is supposed to weave into the plot, like the actual plot of the movie. None of these subplots.
Yeah, the larger story.
Yeah, weaved into the larger story. It was like the writer went, let's do this. That'll be cool. Let's do that. But like I said, for 1977, I mean, this movie was just like a smash hit and I can understand why. But looking at it from a screenwriter's perspective today, there's a lot of stuff in it that kind of makes no sense. So yeah, well, we're 100% going to get into it. The opening shots of the movie are really, for me, really beautiful because they're helicopter shots of Brooklyn, of the Brooklyn Bridge. And, I'm obsessed with New York, so I was really, really happy. And weirdly enough, something I did notice was the trains are exactly the same from 1977 to 2023. Nobody's bothered to change the way that New York trains look. They look exactly, even the inside looks exactly the same. And I was like, huh? So if you want a bit of history in New York, go on one of the trains because literally these trains are from 1977. Anyway, shots of Brooklyn. Okay, this is good. It establishes the location. And then the actual kind of opening scene is the iconic walking scene to the iconic, one of the best songs ever, Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. And we introduce Tony, which is John Travolta, and he's walking down the street and he's holding a paint can. And then he stops and he asks for 2 slices of pizza. And so then he starts walking again. He's eating the pizza. And then women keep walking past him and he keeps kind of looking behind him like he's crass. Right? He doesn't even care. One of them, he even runs after and follows. And she's trying to get away from him. And it's like, oh, that's not good. So he keeps walking and he sees a shirt in a window and he goes in and he puts $5 down on it. And he goes, keep it. I'm going to get the rest of the money. So that shows that he doesn't have a lot of money. So that was good. That was showing, not telling. And then he enters a paint store and he puts on a work shirt and we realize he works in the paint store. And then he asks for an advance in pay because he's going out dancing this weekend. And his boss is like, no, you get paid on a Monday. You don't get, you're supposed to make it last, So listen, that was the opening scene. I liked it, but because what it did was it establishes Tony. It establishes he basically looks at women like they're pieces of meat, so that's his character. He's poor, he doesn't have money. He works in a paint shop again, he's poor, he doesn't have money, and also he asks for an advance, he's poor, he doesn't have money. Right? So all of that kind of makes him the character that he is. Now, question for you. I'll ask about this, about what you thought of the opening scene, but before that, I want to ask, what did you think about Tony as a character throughout the whole movie? Did you think he was likable? Because I have my own opinions on Tony.
No, he's an asshole. He's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, he's a dick. He's a bit of a dick.
He does look. I'm really glad that the writer who wrote this movie took the time to establish him in the first scene of the movie. Obviously, you see him walking on the street with the paint can. You see him glaring at women. This guy is basically a dog because like you said,
Yeah.
he goes by one woman and he physically walks in front of her, and then the director does something really cool. When he walks in front of her, the director does a POV shot of basically his view of the girl, and the woman is trying to get out of the way, but Tony is not letting this poor woman get the fuck out of the way. So
Mm.
I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this fucking asshole? Right away, I'm like, I do not like this. And the other thing that really the other thing that really bugged me about it was like his whole getup. He looks like a gangster. And I'm like, the
Yeah,
hell?
but that was the that was what
Right?
they wore.
No. I understand that, but I'm like, the hell? Just like I was like, no, I don't like this dude. And and the other thing is that I really like the way that John Travolta inhabited this character, because you said that it's established from the very beginning that he doesn't have much money, but John Travolta throughout the whole course of the movie plays Tony with a sense of bravado and a sense of I belong at a higher station than the one that I'm at.
Mm, mhm,
And sometimes, a lot of times, that bites him in the ass,
mhm.
which we'll get to. But I really like the way that John Travolta played the character, because he played it with the sense of I'm better than my lot in life.
Yeah, he's cocky. He's cocky, he's confident, he thinks that he's basically God's gift. He thinks he's so good looking. Like, he just thinks he's fantastic, which is it's
Oh,
gonna be to his detriment, really.
right. Oh, I just interject
Yeah,
one more thing?
yeah.
It was really funny seeing John Travolta with a full head of hair,
Ah,
because now because nowadays, guys, John Travolta is as bald as Patrick Stewart.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
so
that's true, that's true.
it was just really funny seeing John Travolta with a full head of hair.
So now we follow Tony, and he enters his home. He lives with his Italian American family. As soon as he walks in the door, his mother goes, "Ah, Tony, where have you been? Where are you?" You know, she's just on his ass. And this is a 19-year-old guy. And he just ignores. He just not he doesn't even acknowledge that, like, he's just he doesn't want to hear it. He runs up the stairs, and his little sister comes down and goes, "Oh, Tony, I drew this for you." And he's really nice and really compassionate with his sister, and he goes, "I'm going to put it in my room right now. I'm going to put it up on the wall." Like, he ignores his mother because his mother just nags, but you can see that he's got um he's got a really nice relationship with his sister that was actually never explored in the movie at all. It should have been, because she could have been the one to bring him down a couple of notches. But they
Yes,
didn't think that.
yes, exactly. And actually, she's like in four scenes, because she actually does show up later on in the film. But I do want to ask you:
Mm.
did you notice that she was wearing the same clothing that Tony was?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
Was she?
she was wearing the exact same clothing that Tony was.
Right. So
So
she admires
I
him. Yeah.
yeah. So I found that just really, really funny. And also, I want to point out the accent that John Travolta uses throughout this movie. It's very it's
Brooklyn.
very heavy Brooklyn-esque, and a lot of people, a lot of characters in this film, I should say, used the heavy Brooklyn, Jersey accent, and I'm like, these actors did a really good job with that.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I love the Brooklyn accent, and I thought I didn't think he
Yeah,
put
yeah.
it on too much, but I think he did it, like, perfectly because you can go too far with the Brooklyn accent. Like, you can start sounding like Harley
Right, right,
Quinn, right? So, he
right. Yeah,
didn't do
right. You
that.
can overcook it.
Yeah, you can overcook
No,
it.
but no, but no, yeah, no. But the thing about Harley Quinn, just really quickly,
Mm,
Harley Quinn's accent is really heavy, and Harley
mm.
Quinn sounds like she's from Jersey.
Yeah, I never quite picked where she was from because it was so thick. So,
Yeah.
moving on. So, we're with Tony and he's in his room getting ready to go out and he's in his underwear. He's just in black underwear and he's admiring himself in the mirror. He's looking at himself in the mirror, he's looking at his muscles, he's looking at his hair and you're like, "Oh my god, like this is really he absolutely adores himself." He thinks he's God's and you know what?
Like,
Listen, 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 listen. As
what a
look,
fucking douchebag! I'm sorry.
as
Go
a
ahead.
as a female looking at that, I'm just like, no.
What a
Like,
fucking! I'm sorry.
listen, listen.
I'm sorry.
For 1977 for an Italian, maybe, but for 2023, if a guy walked like that, like down the beach, unless you're in love with him, you wouldn't. It's not a thing. It's not a
But
thing.
you, but also just really quick here. I would like to point out the director in this particular scene. He picks some really weird angles to film John Travolta admiring himself in the mirror. It's like it was
Yeah,
just really
yeah, yeah.
odd.
It
Some of
was weird.
some of the some of the angles that he chose were really odd,
Mm,
and um, I don't mean to steal your thunder,
mm,
but at one point Tony's father or John Travolta's or Tony's father comes into the room and says, "Hey Tony, dinner's ready. Come downstairs and eat dinner."
mm,
And for some reason that gets paid off later,
mm.
the director focuses in on a poster of I think it's Farrah Fawcett on the wall, right?
Yes, yes, the iconic Farrah
And
Fawcett photo. Yeah,
yes, and the director focuses on one particular part of the poster,
her
and
nipples.
there's like this, yeah, yeah, and there's like this thing on it, and I'm like, is that what I think it is? I'm like, oh, that's fucking gross.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. That was a weird choice to focus on that. And for the people that don't know, Farrah Fawcett did an iconic photo. It was up in every boy's bedroom in the 70s. She's wearing a swimsuit, so you can't see anything, but you can see her nipples under the swimsuit. And the director, for some reason, decided to do a close up on that, which I thought was very
Yeah, but
bizarre.
yeah, but I yeah, but I think that shot was intentional, and if you notice when he did the close up on that particular section, there was something on the poster which was really gross and vile.
Was there? I didn't even notice because
Yeah,
I was too like
yeah.
overcome with like, why is this shot necessary?
Yeah, no, I know, but no, but the shot is. I think the shot is necessary for a scene later on that lasts like 2 seconds. We could you could have taken it
Oh.
out.
Oh, well, you have to
You
remind me
you
of that because I feel like that was a nothing burger.
okay? It wasn't a nothing burger.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, bring it up when it comes back because I have not written
Uh,
that down.
okay, okay.
Okay, so he's getting ready. Anyway, he goes downstairs. He's eating dinner with his family, and he doesn't want to eat dinner. He's like, Ma, I'm all dressed to go out, and he's like, I don't want to get like sauce on my shirt, and so basically he sits down at the table and he's got like this like towel wrapped around wrapped around his shirt, and they're all eating spaghetti, typical Italian family, and there's the family dynamic that we get to know, which is the father's out of work and he's a bit of a dick. The mother isn't impressed with Tony at all, and she keeps going on about his brother, the priest. Oh, why weren't you a priest like your brother? Like the whole movie is about this mum being obsessed with her son. That's the priest, but that's going to kind of come back, and the family just doesn't understand him. But the thing is, it's not like he's a 26-year-old guy that's got nothing going for him. He's 19. He doesn't even understand himself. Do you know what I mean? Like he's 19, go out, do what you need to do, get it out of your system, and then become an adult. So I thought it was a nice scene getting to know his family dynamic and how his family don't really understand him, don't really respect him, really.
His family really, really, throughout the course of this movie, I thought his family was going to be utilized more, because in this scene, the writer and the director really introduced some interesting dynamics. Like you said, the father is out of work. He's very violent towards his son. the mother is obsessed with his older brother, who is a member of the church, and the grandmother, who is really cute. She says something really cute, which is kind of when she said it, it was kind of shocking to me. Before they start eating, she says mangiare, and that is something that my grandfather says all the time, and I never knew where he got it from, but now I know where he got it from.
It's Italian?
Yeah, it's Italian. Yeah,
He says an Italian word, but he's Spanish.
I don't know. I don't know what that's about.
Oh.
Um, but I do have something to ask you.
Mm.
Like in this scene,
Mm.
the people are actually eating. How do you feel about that?
I loved every second of it. I loved it. I watched them. Look, folks, if you don't know, I'm a huge, huge stickler for actors when they're doing a scene, when they're eating, to actually fucking eat. Okay, because if you watch scenes, usually actors, they push their food around, they go to put it in their mouth, but they don't quite get there, and it's just like, do you not think that people notice this? Because people notice this. So when I see people eating food, I just get so much joy out of it. I said, good actor. Actor, you know what? This is your job. And whether you have to do 50 takes or not, this is your job. And they did it, and they were eating. So I was very, very happy about that. Tony gets picked up by his friends. Every single one of his friends is a dick. That none of
I
them
fucking hate.
have any redeeming qualities. None
Just-
of them. Even the little one.
Just just one thing. These fucking guys are fucking absolute fucking morons. That's all I have to say about them.
They're chauvinistic, they're pigs. There's not one redeeming quality out of all of them. Usually in movies, when someone has friends, there's usually one that's like not so bad, so you can kind of connect with that one. No, not this one. They are all the same. So he gets picked up by his stupid friends, and they go to the disco. And as soon as Tony walks in, you can see his whole energy changes. He is in his absolute element. Everybody knows who he is. All the girls love him. And he loves being there because it's an ego boost. Everybody loves him. Everybody knows him. And then Tony gets on the dance floor. And he is good, like really good, like epic. Like he's probably the best dancer in the club. And you go, oh, that's why all the girls swoon over him. Like, that's why everybody loves him, because he's the king of the disco. And it's really the only place where he can feel at home, where he can feel wanted, where he can feel that positivity that he kind of and the non-judgment that he doesn't get at home. Now, there is a girl that comes up and talks to him, and it's his on and off dance partner. And her name's Annette. She's really sweet. And what happens to her in the movie is actually really disturbing. And we'll get to that later on. And she goes, hey, Tony, you want to go out or something? And he's so mean to her. He's like, nah, I would never touch you. I'm never going to go. Like, he doesn't let her down gently. He's just a dickhead to her. And he just doesn't like her. She's totally in love with him, though. And then he goes, all right, yeah, let's go dance. So he makes the rules for that. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go dance. And I'm sitting there like, girl, no, no. But they're an awesome duo, because when they get on the dance floor, they know each other's moves. They can anticipate. So they're really, really great dance duo. He uses her basically because she's a good dancer. He uses her, but he knows that she's in love with him, but he doesn't care, and he treats her like shit because he knows that she's always going to come back. And that's a huge ego thing for him. So anyway, he does the dance thing. He sits back down with his friends, and there's a girl that comes up and she goes, oh, Tony, can I wipe your forehead? And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah. So he's got groupies, right? He's got these girls that are just falling all over him to wipe his forehead. And then he turns around and he goes, oh, do you want to dance? And she's like almost dying. And then they get on the dance floor and she just hugs him. And he's like, oh, what? And then he spots a woman. This is all one scene, by the way. I know I'm going on. It's one scene. So then he spots a woman dancing on the dance floor, and she's really good. And he can't stop staring at her. And this is Stephanie, and she's going to become an integral part in the story. But he's just like, oh my God, who is this woman? And look, to be honest, I saw her dance moves. They weren't that great. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe he thought she was pretty. I don't know. But then his dance partner tells him there's a dance competition and they should enter. And he says, okay, reluctantly, but like dance partners only. Like, I don't want anything else to do with you. And he treats this poor woman with absolute disdain, even to the end. Like, there's no redeeming qualities in Tony, even at the end of the movie. So anyway, that was that long, convoluted scene. I'm gonna have a drink. Go for it.
Tony, just real quick before I start talking about the scene, Tony did not deserve a single thing that he got in this movie.
Nope.
His behavior throughout the course of this movie is unacceptable, and this motherfucker should have lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you feel, but I thought the dancing sequences in this movie were very, very robotic. And I was like, it was just like very slow and very like it was like the extras kind of like I don't know. I just felt that the dancing sequences all throughout this movie were just kind of robotic and not very good and not very lively. The other issue that I had with this scene in particular is I felt the audio dub like before they get into the club, the audio dub was just like bad, and I'm like, because because you would hear the lines from the actors, you would hear the lines from Tony and his friends, but their dialogue would be isolated and low, and then you would hear nothing else around them. So it's almost like they were like in a box. This is so weird. Like, did you pick that up at all?
I picked up the bad dubbing, but
Okay.
I didn't think anything of it because it was 1977 and they could only do what they could do. It's not like
Okay.
now
Okay.
where it's like, do you know what I mean? I have to take
Okay.
look, if I saw dubbing like that in a 2023 movie, fuck that. That is
You
not acceptable.
fuck that. That's awful.
But in
No, but
1977, I let it go.
no, but now to stop complaining about the movie, get to the scene. You know what? Like you, I really liked it because it does show Tony in his element. He does get the attention and the respect that he deserves once he enters the disco. I don't like the way that he treats he treats the girl Annette in this particular scene and throughout the entire course of the movie. And I also hate the way that his friends talk about women. I'm like,
Mm.
what the fuck? The way that these stupid fucking kids talk about women, I'm like, I throughout the entire course of this movie, I wanted to kill all of them slowly. I'm like,
Slowly.
guys. But again, look. But again, these fucking wambots are young. They're stupid. They're racist. So they're just awful.
Oh my god, this movie is so racist and so homophobic. It's
You have no idea.
unbelievable.
No, but
I couldn't believe it.
no, but the thing that shocked me was what Tony and his group of friends were talking about on the way into the club. I'm like, what did
Oh
they just
yeah.
say?
Oh yeah. Like out loud.
Yeah, but
Which we will not repeat, but yeah, it was not good.
no, of course
It
not.
was not good.
No, it's not good at all.
Yeah, I was like, "What?" Like that was like allowed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway. So the next scene is Tony is out with his friends and it's just a short scene and they're talking about how they'll never make money to buy nice things and that's just the way that it is. And Tony just isn't happy about that because he realizes that that's not what he wants. He doesn't want to go around with fucking like this his whole life. Like he wants money and he wants to be happy, but it's like how does he get it? And at first you think, oh, this might be a turning point for him, but it's not. It's not a turning point. Before I go on, he doesn't have a fucking turning point. Before I move on, spoiler alert, he doesn't have a turning point. Before I move on, I love the dance sequences in this movie. I didn't think it was robotic at all. I absolutely loved them. And I thought that it was discotheque dancing. It wasn't dancing that you would see in a nightclub now. It was discotheque dancing. And for that, I thought it was really, really awesome. But that's just me.
Okay. No,
So that
you're
was that.
yeah,
And
no. I no, just real quick.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I
go.
don't mean to step on you there, but
You
I
always step
think
on me. And
oh
you know
bullshit. I
what?
do
You
not
know
always
what?
step on
Every
you.
time you step on me, I love it. I love it
Fine.
when you
All right.
step on me. Just step on me a little bit
All
more.
right. All
Step.
right. All right. All right. I'll step on you a little bit more. And next time I might get hurt. No. No, um, no. I thought. Listen. Like you said, I thought that scene with Tony and his friends in the park served no purpose
Mm.
because that scene promised us that Tony would have an arc as a character. And throughout the course of the film, Tony has various opportunities to change his life and to be a better person,
So
but he
many.
doesn't do that.
So many
He's so
opportunities.
many. And there's one point in this movie where I almost wanted to turn it off because
Mm.
the fact that he could sit there while something awful
I
happens to
know.
somebody else,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
Mm.
are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Just get the fuck out of here. But we'll get to that.
I agree totally with you with that. But that's later on. We'll get to it. So Tony's at work, and his boss comes up to him, and he decides to give him a raise of $2.50. And Tony is so happy. He's like, "Oh my god, $2.50, yeah!" And the guy goes, "What? Okay, like $3." And he's like, "What? No, $2.50." He goes, "All right, I will give you $4 raise." And Tony's like, I would be happy with $2.50." And he goes, "Oh my god, I would give you $4 raise. I never seen someone so happy to get a $2.50 raise before." But it shows that he's just happy to get anything. He's just happy to have any kind of positivity in his life because it means if his boss is giving him a raise that he's doing a good job, which is something that he never got at home. He never gets told he's doing anything good. So he's just, it wouldn't matter if it was 50 cents. He would just be like absolutely over the moon. Now, could this be another opportunity for him to change? Yes. Does he? No. He does not. He does not. So that was just a little scene. He gets home. This is the scene. Well, this is our scene. He gets home and he tells his dad, he goes, "Dad, I got a $4 raise." And he's so happy. And his dad goes, "So what? $4 is nothing." And Tony is just like it just takes the wind out of his sails. Like he was so happy, and his dad's like, "Oh, whatever, it's nothing, it's nothing." And Tony's just like, he gets pissed. And he said, "You know what? Only two people have ever told me I'm good in my life, my boss and dancing at the disco. And you sure as fuck never did." And he got up and he left. And his dad's now unemployed. I mean, he should be happy for his son, but if you look at the situation, the dad has his own issues. The dad hates himself. The dad hates that he can't provide for his family. So the fact that his son is providing for the family, something that he can't do, I do understand that, but he's still being a bit of a dick about it. And also, it shows kind of why Tony is the way that he is because he gets no love and he doesn't know what love is, which is why he acts like a jerk to everybody because he doesn't understand until we get to know Stephanie more and he kind of opens his heart a little bit, but not enough to be redeemable. Anyway,
No, not at
what
all.
say you?
No, but you mentioned the dynamic between Tony and his father throughout the film. And one thing that is very telling, I just want to bring it back to the first instances when we meet Tony's family, right? They're sitting around the dinner table eating dinner, and the Tony's mother mentions that she might start working, and Tony's father loses it. He almost hits his wife
Yeah.
because his wife mentioned that I'm going to get a job to possibly loosen the weight, right,
Mm,
to pay for the bills or whatever.
mm,
And his father is so intrinsically sort of threatened by this
yeah,
that he almost loses his gasket.
yeah.
So I thought this film had a great opportunity to explore the relationship between Tony and his family, but they didn't really do that. They sort of hinted at they were going to do that, but they did nothing with that. So they could have taken that out. But you know what? You know what? They could have taken out pieces of it because they still needed it to explain to us why Tony is such a fucking asshole.
They could have done a lot of stuff with this movie that they didn't. So
Right.
we know this. So anyway, we're with Annette, the girl that he just dismissed at the club before, the nice one, and she's waiting for him outside a dance studio. And it's freezing, and he gets there and he asks, "Why are you waiting outside? It's freezing." And she goes, "Oh, I like to watch you walk." She's just obsessed with him. And he's like, "Ah, shit," right? And then he just walks they go inside together, and he sees the girl from the disco that he was admiring, and he keeps staring at her, and he approaches her. He approaches her very, very egotistical because he doesn't know any other way to be. He strolls in, his hair's all perfect, he makes sure, he's got a smoke in his mouth, like, he's all suave, and she's basically like, "Fuck off. I don't wanna go out. I don't wanna talk to you." And he gets pissed. His ego gets triggered straight away, and he just fucking mumbles something under his breath and just fucking leaves. And again, it's showing how childlike he is. Like, somebody rejects, not even rejection, it's just like, "Oh, I don't know you," because he just thinks that he's God's gift because at the disco, he's God's gift. But when he goes up to this girl and she's like, "No, I don't think he's ever been rejected before." So he doesn't know how to work through that emotion. And so he just gets triggered and basically like fucks off. And which is more, look, I wouldn't say this is character development for him because he doesn't really have character development. He just has more and more bad traits. And it just gets progressively worse throughout the movie.
No, I think this scene does a really good job of showing us how Tony does not know the world, how Tony sort of puts up this false facade of confidence and bravado, but the minute that he is presented with someone who actually knows how the real world works, and the minute that he is shown some resistance by a girl that has some fucking bite, he just crumbles. So I think I do think that the scene really shows us how over how how um how not ready he is for the relationship that he's going to endure with this character.
Yeah, I agree with you. So Tony comes home and his family just looks like somebody fucking died. And then he hears his brother has left the priesthood and he's like, "Huh?" And his family's fucking not happy. His mum's fucking crying. "Why? Why, God?" Like the mother is just like her pride and joy son is just like not doing what she wants him to do. So Tony goes upstairs and his brother's in his room. Tony is happy because it means he has a conversation with his brother. There's a dynamic between him and his brother that should have been explored. His brother was obviously the more mature one. Again, his brother could have acted as an anchor to move Tony out of his egotistical ways and into a more mature way, but they didn't. It's so disappointing. There were so many opportunities to do that, and they just fucking wasted it. So anyway, he has a conversation with his brother, and Tony's happy because now his brother is no longer on a pedestal, which means that his family no longer looks down on Tony as they once did. So and that really goes to show he's happy when something kind of negative happens to someone else because that means it takes the spotlight off of him, which is kind of sad in a way. What do you think?
Yeah, listen, when his older brother decides to quit the priesthood, and Tony's reaction is really, really apparent in that his family just treats him like a fucking punching bag. His family blames him for all their problems.
Mm.
So that shows you that his family has a deeper systemic problem within itself, because you cannot blame your children for your own failures. That
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that shows or that tells me that you don't have good self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly.
I really, really thought that the writer was going to explore the relationship between Tony and his older brother, especially with him leaving the priesthood. I thought they were going to explore that a little bit more. But again, they kind of teased it and then they kind of dropped it.
I thought the writer was going to do a lot of things that the writer did not do. I think the writer
Mhm.
had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of things. There was a lot going on in Tony's life, and the writer didn't use any of it.
None of it.
None of it. So Tony heads back to the dance studio. I don't know if you noticed this. You know the nanny is in this movie.
No way, really?
Fran Drescher is in this movie, very, very young. She's one of the girls that goes up to him and asks him to dance.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I did not notice that. I
She's
did not
very,
notice that.
very young. So anyway, he heads back
Mm.
to the disco and he sees the girl there that he likes, Stephanie. And he asks her, he goes, "Look, I've been admiring you, I think that we should go out on a date." Like he's just like he doesn't give up. He really likes her, which I think I'm going to deviate here, but I'm going to bring it back. I think that guys think that that's like a turn on, like, "Oh, I'm not going to give up. I know she said no, but I'm just going to keep trying to show her my interest." It doesn't work like that, boys. It doesn't. Maybe with like 1% of women, but like once we say no, we're not going to say yes because you keep harassing us. And I think a lot of guys' minds, that's if I keep harassing her, she'll just say yes, which is like, is that really a yes that you want? So anyway, I'm deviating, but I'm bringing it back because it's a part of the scene. So she reluctantly says yes because I think she doesn't necessarily like him, but she just says yes because she knows he's never gonna stop, which is kind of not a good thing to do. But what did you think?
No, I think you know what? I think Tony's insistence to go out with this girl really shows you how he sort of needs something to chase after, and also his insistence to his insistence to convince her to dance with him really shows you the sort of social dynamics of the time, in that no matter what women said at this time, men sort of disregarded them. They treated them like trash, and they just kept coming and coming and coming until women had no recourse, and they just said yes to get these dogs of men off of them, which is really unfortunate. But I thought that that was a really telling scene, and I couldn't wait until Tony got his ass handed to him a little later in the movie, in a diner scene that I liked very, very much.
Well, I think this is the diner scene because we're on their date, and
Okay, we're on the day.
it's very, very clear from the get-go that she's a lot more mature than he is because she keeps talk she's traveled, she's meeting people, and he has no idea what she's talking about. She's like, "Yeah, I traveled here and I went there," and he's sitting there like a deer in the headlights. He doesn't know how to communicate with someone that is mature, that is traveled, that has spent a lot of time with a lot of different people. I mean, she talks about, Laurence Olivier, which was a famous actor at that time. And he was like, "Who?" And she's like, "What? And then she says, "Oh, he's in those Polaroid ads." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then later on, he says, "Oh, do you think that he could get like a camera for me?" Like he has no perception outside of his bubble. He has no just by saying that, he just looks and she just looks at him like, "No, I don't think he can get you a camera." Like it's not he doesn't get it, and he realizes in this scene that he doesn't get it. And you can see he goes she makes him feel stupid. She makes him feel immature. And she doesn't do it on purpose. It's just that everything she's saying, he can't keep up because he's like, all I do is like chicks, friends, disco, work. That's all he does. And he doesn't know anything else. So he's sitting there like a deer in the headlights. All he's ever known is Brooklyn. He's never traveled out, he's never done anything. And she says to him, "Let me guess. You live at home, you go to the disco on the weekend, and you hang out with your friends." And he smiles and he goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. How'd you know?" Like again, it's very childlike. It's very like, "Oh, she guessed it. How did she guess it?" But like it wasn't like a positive thing. And then she says, "You're nowhere, on your way to no place." And you can see all the positivity just like drain out of his face because he realizes in that moment, she's right. I'm actually not doing anything. And it kind of wakes him up because she he starts saying like, "Oh, he likes dancing, but maybe it's not a forever thing." They didn't keep on that tagline though. Like they didn't keep on that because that should have been kind of an inciting incident for him in order to change his life. But it wasn't because nothing in this movie changes this guy. Okay. So he brings up the dance competition. She says she's happy to dance with him, but that's it. She doesn't want a relationship. She wants to dance with him. So I liked that scene, and this scene should have pushed his character forward, but it didn't. But it did show that he's just not that much. He's just stupid.
No, this scene should have been the inciting incident to cause him to change everything about his life. But like Dean just said, it just didn't. And I really connected with this scene so much because just really quickly here, I just want to say a couple things. In my life, I met someone that made me feel like an asshole and made me feel like I was not good at anything and that I had no perception of the real world and that I was emotionally like a child of two with a with a fucking diaper on. So when when she's when she's constantly talking about the people that she works for, the famous people that she knows, and her experiences. When Tony's got that deer in the headlights look, I was like, that was me 2 years ago. So I'm like,
Mm.
I feel your pain. But with that being said, I was so happy that Tony got his ass handed to him and he got a taste of what reality really looks like. And it
Mm.
was just really unfortunate that this incident didn't didn't cause a chain reaction in him to make him change his ways.
Yeah, I think anybody put in that position has a choice. Either you change or you stay the way that you are. So he chose to stay the way that he was. But the movie's not real life. So in the movie, it should have changed him. He should have made that choice because there was kind of no movie because there was no character development kind of in him.
I think that this movie, all my life, this movie has been heralded as one of the best movies ever,
Mm.
right? And I watched it today, like for the first time ever, and I'm sitting there going, this movie fucking sucks. And you know why it sucks? Because all the characters in this movie are so irredeemable and
Mm.
so fucking fucked up that you're. What is so great about this movie? Like the dance scenes are okay. I'll I'll give you that. The dance scenes are okay, but the character development for all the character development for every character in this movie is shitty. I mean, they introduce some interesting storylines with Tony's family, which they don't pay off at all. Tony just, I just, I'm like, oh, I. The thing is, I thought this movie had so much potential, but like Dina said multiple times, the writer just didn't want to go there for some particular reason.
My mum loves this movie. And I asked her yesterday, I said, look, I'm just interested. Why do you like this movie? And what she said to me is why I think people actually like it. She said, I love this movie for the music and the dancing and for nothing else. And I said, oh, but that's it. People love this movie for the music and for the dancing and for nothing
But
else.
but so you're telling me that all the people that like this movie, well, okay, obviously they don't look at it from a screenplay writer's perspective because that's what we're doing right now, and it's awful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But I think at the time it was released again, 1977, nobody had ever seen anything like it. And the
Right,
life that Tony was living was the life that people were living. That was the
right.
things that they said. That was they went to the discos. That was for people watching this movie in 1977 that actually lived in Brooklyn and grew up in Brooklyn would have identified with this movie so much. That's why people loved it when it came out because it was at the time connectable, but now it's kind of not connectable. That's where it loses its thunder a bit. His fucking stupid friends. His friends. I didn't even write anything down for this thing. I just can't. I just can't with his fucking friends. This is what I'm gonna write down. I'm gonna write down. Fuck, even my brain's dying over this. Okay,
Oh my
this is
god.
what I'm gonna tell you. What I wrote down, word for word. Friends say their other friend is in trouble. That's literally what it is. Because that was the scene. That was the scene. And that
Okay,
you don't
okay.
even find out what happened until an hour later. Once you've forgotten that he even had another friend. Because there's a scene in the hospital with his friend. I'm like, who the fuck is that? like honestly.
Okay, oh my god. Okay, that scene serves no purpose because that scene introduces a story plot that serves no
Pointless.
purpose because they it's pointless. So just take it out.
Just take it out. Just
Off you
take
go.
it out.
Let's move on.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I would love to re-edit this movie. Fuck.
Oh yes. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It would literally be 20 minutes, but it would be the best 20 minutes ever.
You know what? I'll go one further. I would take this movie and rewrite the shit out of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you after this. Look, after I finish doing this, I'm gonna tell you what I think the movie should have been. But after
Okay.
we've done this, so now we're with
Okay.
Tony and his family, and we're having dinner at his house. And his mother turns to him and says, "What did you say to your brother to get him to leave the church?" And I'm like, "What?"
What the
And he's
fuck?
like, and Tony's like, oh, "Why are you blaming me?" Like that's the thing. Like you don't like him, but you kind of feel sorry for him like 1%. You feel sorry for him
No, I
at
don't.
no, wait,
No, I
wait,
don't.
whoa, wait.
Not 1%.
I know. But when his family berates him, you feel sorry for him. And then the next scene is him being a dick. And then you're like, oh, I don't feel sorry for you anymore. So it just they cancel each other out, right? Which movies aren't supposed
Yeah.
to do. You're supposed to
No,
actually
it's
feel
not.
for the main character, not hate him.
No, but the other no, but Dean is right, right? As writers, it is our job to give our lead characters positive traits and negative traits, right? And as writers, we're supposed to balance the scales. And
Mm.
and Tony's character throughout this whole movie is just one fucking way. He has no fucking balance whatsoever as a character.
No, nothing. Zip. Zero. Nada. Fucking nothing. So where are we? We're with Tony, and he gets to the dance studio. Not the discotheque, the dance studio. And Annette, the one that's like always falling over him, is waiting outside. And he just casually tells her, "Look, I got a new dance partner. Sorry." And it was just so crass. And she's just, this actress. This is the only character I liked because she was so you just connected with her, and I felt so bad for her that she just had this need to latch on to this just guy that wanted nothing to do with her. So he goes inside and he waits for Stephanie because he's supposed to meet up with Stephanie. And then she shows up and they start rehearsing. And after class, they're walking home. And he says, and this reminded me of you and me actually. I saw, oh my god, this is Marcelo and me. They're walking home and he goes, I like you when you're quiet because because you're not laying all the shit on me.
Oh my god, that's right. That's right.
And I'm like,
Oh god,
like, that's
that is
that
so
is
right. You know what? To be fair, that is kind of us, but I love it when you talk.
I know. Because because he says that because he likes not hearing how shit he is all the time. And that reminded me of you.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes people just need a break.
Yeah, it's like just lay off for just a little
Just
bit.
tell me you love
and
me
then-
once. Just please. Just tell me I'm doing a
Just
good job.
come
One
on.
time. One fucking time.
Come on, one time.
So he asks a really interesting question to Stephanie. He says, do you think I'm interesting and intelligent? And she said, interesting, yeah. But, and she kind of skirts around the intelligent issue. And he's so, he's so happy to get a compliment from someone. And you're just like, oh, that's really cute. But then in the next scene, he just like fucking cancels it out because he's a dick. But anyway, that's that scene.
Yeah, I mean, look. I really like the scene because again, it shows how Tony is is punching way above his weight, and it also shows how insecure Tony is as a person. Right? He gets one compliment, and he lights up because obviously he's not getting
Yeah.
any positivity at home. But I also like the scene because it reminded me of a relationship that I have with someone that's way more positive than this one.
Yeah. fucking hope so.
And no, it is, it's. I mean, the relationship that I have with this person is tremendously positive. But I just, but I look. The most frustrating thing about Tony's relationship with Stephanie is that as an audience member, you think that Stephanie's going to be the one to pull him out of all this shit,
Mm,
and Stephanie constantly shows him all the mistakes that he's making.
mhm.
He takes it in for a second, and then he fucking forgets about it.
Oh, yeah.
So, so as a writer, I'm sitting there going, the guy who wrote this must have fallen asleep at the wheel,
Yeah.
because seriously, you cannot write a character where a character realizes everything he's doing wrong, and then not have that character progress.
Yeah.
That is not that is not proper storytelling technique. What are you doing?
Yeah, but in 1977 it was. Because
Yeah, but
they don't I don't even know I don't even think they knew about character arcs in 1970s when they just wrote movies, I think.
but I have to believe. Well, you know what? It's 1977, so I'll just go with it.
Yeah. So now Tony takes his brother to the disco, and this is the scene that Fran Drescher is in for anybody that is wants to know that this is the scene. And there's
Right.
another fantastic, I think, dance sequence. And his brother sees how good he is. Now, he has a friend, one of his dickhead friends named Bobby. And Bobby's about 4 foot tall. And he's
I
got a
hate this motherfucker.
and
I hate this motherfucker.
and
Sorry,
he is I think
I
he is
hate him.
I look, I fucking hate him too. I hate them all. He is supposed to be I don't even like talking about his friends because his friends are so irritating. So this is the friend that is supposed to be the friend, like the redeemable friend. Remember how I said in movies when people have friends, there's always one that's like the good one. He's supposed to be the good one. He's fucking not, because he keeps he's like the meek one, and he's talking to Tony's on the dance floor, and he's talking to his brother who's just left the priesthood. And he goes, "Oh, can I talk to you? Can I?" And his brother just wants to watch his brother dance on the dance floor, and this little dweeb is being so annoying. And he goes, "Oh, so what would happen, like, if I got a girl pregnant? Should I marry her? Should..." The whole movie is just this fucking guy asking anybody that will listen, "I got my girlfriend pregnant. I don't know what to do. I don't
You don't.
care. I
First of
don't
all, yeah.
care."
First of all, I echo my co-host's sentiments. I don't fucking care. You don't need this. What is the importance of this fucking story point in the grander story? Look,
Nothing.
what happens to him? Listen, what happens to him? You could have done by his fucking friends bullying him
Yeah.
mercilessly.
Yeah.
You don't need any of this fucking shit. It's just a waste of story real estate. You don't
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah. Talking about waste of story real estate is the next scene, and I've literally written down Brooklyn Bridge scene question mark because I don't get it. I don't fucking get the scene. There is a scene, I'm going to explain the scene, and I'm going to tell you why I don't fucking get it. This scene goes for about 10-15 minutes, and all it is Tony and his friends, they park the car on the Brooklyn, I think it's the Brooklyn Bridge or one of the
It's a
bridges.
Brooklyn Bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge. They're jumping from I don't know, wire to wire or something, and they're just being idiots. And that's the scene.
Okay,
I don't get it.
okay, okay. First of all, what they're doing, even in 1977,
And nobody
is
stops
not
them.
fucking possible.
No, it's not
No,
possible.
it's not. No, it's not fucking possible. And secondly, I don't fucking get it. Makes no sense. Let's move the fuck on.
Fantastic. Let's go. So the next scene is his brother's leaving, and his brother's getting into the car. See, his brother's in 2 scenes, makes no difference, and now fucks off. So he tells him he should do something with his dancing because he's really, really good, and he needs to stop letting people tell him what he should do with his life, because if you do that, you will end up miserable. That should have been a really heartwarming scene, but it wasn't, because guess what? Guess what, folks? Tony does nothing with what his brother says. And that's that scene. That's that fucking scene.
Again, the writer really enticed us with a potential good story plotting point with Tony and his brother, right? Because Dean thought that Tony's older brother, who just left in the scene that we're talking about now, was going to be the catalyst of Tony changing his ways. I I thought it was going to be Stephanie, the one that was going to sort of drive Tony to change, but neither of these two characters do that.
Mm.
And his his older brother swoops in for 2 fucking seconds, gives him some fucking Yoda wisdom, and then fucks off.
Yeah.
What is the use of him?
No use.
Look again. You could have done everything. You could have done everything that you had Tony's older brother do. You could have given that shit to his family. We
Mm.
we we didn't have to meet him at all.
At all. This fucking movie.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm like, why? Just fucking why?
I don't know, just fucking why. I don't know. So Tony's friends meet Stephanie, the girl that he likes. I'm just gonna sidetrack for like 2 seconds. They go to White Castle. Fucking White Castle has the worst fucking burgers. I swear to fucking God, they are horrible. Like, why are you going to White? Like, they're cheap. No, don't go. No, and no. I'm sorry, people that like White Castle, but their burgers are fucking shit. Okay, they're fucking shit. You want good burgers? You got to go to, I don't know what, Five Guys. Oh my God, fucking go to. Was there Five Guys in 1977? Go to Five Guys. They have fucking the best burgers I've ever tasted in my life in New York. Fucking White Castle, no. But anyway, they're at White Castle. They're meeting with Stephanie, and she leaves, and Tony goes, "What did you think?" And one of them goes, "Have you fucked her yet?" And Tony gets annoyed, and he's just like, "You don't know her, man. Like you don't know her." But it's funny because he used to be like them, but now for the first time he has feelings for a girl, and he doesn't like the way, like more than physical, and he doesn't like the way that they're talking about her, because I know that you don't like the way that they speak, but that is how 19-year-old boys speak, because that is all they think of, right? So
Yeah,
I don't like it. I do understand it, but I did like, again, here's a redeeming quality. This fucking movie is a fucking yo-yo. Okay? There is this redeeming quality in Tony where he's just like, "Oh, I don't like the way that you're speaking about her," but then in the next scene he fucks it up again. So it's back to square one.
No, but you mentioned the White Castle scene. I was really surprised that there was a White Castle in 1977. I was like, oh my God, White Castle is that old? But the other thing that really pissed me off about the scene is that at one point his fucking idiotic, stupid, no good for nothing friends, they fucking make this whole scene where one of them jumps on top of it. I'm like, what in the holy fuck are they doing?
Yeah, it was stupid.
Like what? Just God damn it! I wanted to kill these people.
Kill them. Yeah.
Look, and like you said, when they finally get the fuck out of the White Castle, one of his friends goes, "Have you banged her yet?" And and Tony shows that he has a bit of character development. And he says, "Oh, I don't like you talking about her like that." But then a scene later, like Dean says, he fucking forgets about it. You know what he's like? He is like, check this out. You're gonna like this. He is like characters in the next generation, because characters in the next generation, right? They'll have something horrific happen to them one week, but seriously,
but it's never talked about again.
Yeah,
it's like they just reset the character each episode.
Exactly. So in TNG, they reset characters every goddamn week.
Oh yeah.
And in this movie, it's like the writer is resetting Tony every fucking scene.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? Yeah. So
that's exactly what it is. He resets back to default mode, which is like shit mode. So now we're with Tony again, because we're always fucking with Tony, and he's asking his boss for the afternoon off, and his boss is like, no. And Tony goes, well, I'm taking it anyway. And his boss goes, well, then you're fired then. He goes, well, fine. Yeah, fine. You're firing me. Fine. I'm fired. So he walks out, and then Tony shows up at Stephanie's place, and he's hauling all her stuff into the car because he's helping her move. And so they're driving over the Brooklyn Bridge to Manhattan. Oh, God. I'm sorry.
This was.
Oh my God! It looks exactly like how it looks.
No,
like, oh my God.
No, actually, you know what? This was a really, really nice shot of the car going over the bridge and them having the mattress over. So that was a really, really nice shot.
Yeah, but when they're driving down the streets, albeit it was only like 1 or 2 streets of Manhattan, and, like, the houses, they still look the same, like, the streets still look
Yeah.
the same, and I was, like, dying
Yeah.
because, like, I just in case people don't know, I am obsessed with New York. Sorry, I'm obsessed with like, Manhattan, like, I'm just obsessed. So I
Oh,
was really, really happy to
yeah.
see that.
Yeah, no, folks, she's not kidding.
You say that with such disdain. She's not kidding, I have to hear about this shit all the time. Even though you live in New York and, like, do you know what I mean? Can I not be fucking jealous? Fuck's sake. I cry every
Of
time.
course,
I cry.
of course. Just a quick aside. I'm jealous that you live around water.
Yeah, no, I know. We've both got positives about where we live. So anyway,
Yes, we do.
this scene, so he basically wanted the afternoon off to help her move. And he's willing to get fired from a job. He's willing to lose his income to help this girl. So it shows how much he actually really does like her because he tells her, he goes, "Oh, I lost my job." She goes, "I didn't want that to happen." He goes, "Nah, don't worry about it. Nah, all good, all good, all good." And like again, it should have been like, "Oh, that's really sweet," but no. In the next scene, he just fucking goes back to dick, goes back to being a dick.
I mean, it is really cool that Tony is, yeah, getting attached to this girl, but getting attached to somebody is not good. But
No. No, it is
no,
not.
it's not.
Please don't attach to
Oh
me. Anybody that's listening, I swear to God, if there is someone listening, they're like, "Oh my God, her voice sounds so sexy." No, it's not. Back away. Back away. I don't want any attachments. Go away.
guys, my co-host is a honey trap. Don't. She's like,
Yeah. Yep. I don't want to be though. I just fucking am.
what the fuck was I saying? I can't even. Okay. Okay. So you know what? Look. It's really, it's a really cool thing that Tony likes Stephanie so much that he quits his job to help her move. But here's the thing: Tony should be learning something from doing all these actions, but he
Should be.
learns nothing.
Should be.
Nothing at
Nothing.
all.
Nothing.
Like Dean and I have said, he is like a character in the next generation.
Yeah.
Everything that he learns, he forgets in the next scene.
Yeah.
So what is the point?
Good question. What is the point? I don't know.
What is the point? I don't know.
So they get to her place and she's moving into, and there's a man in there and he kisses her on the lips. And Tony just fucking does not like this because he's just the way that he fucking is. And he asks, like, who's that guy and stuff. He thinks they've got some sort of like relationship, like they fucking don't, right? He's just in his head. So Tony asks who he is, and Stephanie explains that he helps her out, and he goes, yeah, in the sack. And she's like, no, blah, blah, blah. She's trying to explain it. But then she realizes, yeah, like this guy's just using her for sex. But she's using him equally to get knowledge and to get up in the world and stuff like that. And she starts crying because she realizes that Tony, for once in his fucking life, is right about something. And Tony, you can see, again, this is another redeemable moment that he just loses later on in the movie. He gets upset that she's crying. He gets tears in his eyes, and you're like, oh, like you're not even expecting that. And so he takes her to a really beautiful location. It's a lookout of the Brooklyn Bridge to make her feel better. And he starts talking about the bridge to distract her from crying. He starts talking about stats, and this is how long it took, and these are the dimensions of it. He goes, I know everything about the Brooklyn Bridge. And she just kisses him on the cheek because she knows exactly what he's trying to do, and she's very appreciative. And it was a really sweet scene. Too bad he totally loses it in later scenes, but it was sweet.
You know what? I did not like the preceding scenes leading up to them sitting with the view over the bridge, because I feel that Tony had no right to act the way that he did. Look, he likes Stephanie, but Tony as a character within himself is a fucking dropkick. And the fact that he judged her for her actions and for what she was doing to get ahead in her life. First of all, I'm like, motherfucker, you have no idea
Mhm.
what it means to be responsible. You have no idea what it means to be in the real world. So how dare you judge this woman for doing what's necessary for her to get ahead. And the
Yeah.
fact, and the fact, listen, and the fact that Stephanie apologizes for crying really fucking pissed me off. I'm like, good God, what the fuck are you?
I know. But the reason, I
Don't,
mean, look, he gets
yeah,
pissed because he wants it to himself.
yes, I understand. I understand that. We like, yeah, but it's like,
I
I don't
know,
know.
I know.
Off you,
Look,
off you.
listen, they're there. I'm patting you on the head. They're
Yeah,
there. I know. I
thank you.
understand. This movie is fucking weird. This movie's fucking all over the
Thank,
fucking joint.
thank you. Off you go. I needed that.
Tony goes back to work to basically beg for his job back. And his boss says, "Look, you can have your job back because you're a really good worker and I really like you." And he starts pointing out two of his other workers. He's like, "Yeah, fucking Bob has been here 20 years and fucking Carl has been here 50 years." And Tony's looking at them and you can see on his face like, "Fuck, I don't want to be here for another 20 years." But that doesn't come back either. Because that should be a turning point for him and it's fucking not. So Tony goes to the dance studio, sees Stephanie dancing with the owner, and they're just dancing. Like it's fun. It's not intimate. It's just she's dancing with him while waiting for Tony. Tony gets pissed, like full on jealous, and just fucking storms out. And I'm like, oh my god, this guy's like actually a fucking child. Like you could see nothing was happening. It was just they were just dancing together, and then he storms out. And I'm like, oh Tony, you're a dick.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what I realized about this scene? I realized why the dancing is so stilted to me throughout the whole
Mm,
course of this movie.
yep.
And you know what it is?
What?
I'll get to the scene. I'll get to the scene in just a minute. It's the shoes that they wear. They have to dance like that because the shoes that they wear wouldn't allow them to dance like modern dancing movies. Because the shoes are
Yeah.
basically they're all wearing high tops.
They're platform shoes.
Yeah, and you cannot dance like really well in platform shoes, right?
Well, again,
You could.
the dance
I
moves
I
are
know, I know.
70s dance moves. Mm.
When Tony came in and he saw the owner of the dance studio dancing with Stephanie, I really thought that the way that he acted was like a child. But the other reason why he didn't want the owner of the dance studio dancing with Stephanie because it is said early on that the owner has slept with every girl that has come to the studio.
Yeah.
So he is kind of worried that that's going to happen to Stephanie. But listen, his reaction is totally unwarranted, and the way that he acts is just like, come on, just grow up.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, moving on, next scene. Tony, this is the dance competition. And he's wearing the famous white suit that's on all the posters for a Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
He sees Stephanie waiting out the front for him. And, there's no bad blood anymore. He's over it. She's over it. And they know that they have a job to do. They go in. Look, there's dancers before them. There's three couples dancing. Their dance, this is what I have a problem with. Their dance was crap. It was the worst dance sequence of the whole movie. So he's dancing in the white suit, and they're dancing to More Than a Woman by Bee Gees, which is a good song, but it's not like a dance competition song. So I thought the song choice was bizarre. The moves were really crappy. Like all the other dance sequences I thought were really upbeat and great, but this one was just like really lackluster. I'm like, isn't this movie about a dance competition? It was
The editing was awful
it was
too.
awful. It was awful. So they finish dancing and then a Puerto Rican couple gets up, starts dancing, and they're like fucking amazing. It's like, no, this is what the last dance should have been. This should have been his dance. And Tony is just wowed by how good they are. And Tony and Stephanie end up winning first prize, but Tony is pissed. And I'm sitting there like, wow, didn't he want to win the money? And he's so pissed. And then he says he knows the Puerto Rican couple were better. And the only reason he won is because it's rigged because they know him. And he's pissed. And then he goes up to the Puerto Rican couple and he gives them the trophy and the money. He goes, "You earned this, I didn't." And then he storms out, drags Stephanie. Stephanie's like, "What the hell? Like, what is," like, he just, even if it was rigged, which it was, like he doesn't know how to deal with his emotions, and he just storms out with Stephanie, and they get into his car, the back of his car. He starts acting like a prick to her because he doesn't know how to manage his emotions, and she pushes him off and gets out of the car, tells him to fuck off, and now he's fucking pissed. He's just pissed off. And I just thought, look, folks, this is literally the end of the there's like 2 more scenes and then the movie
Oh,
is
yeah,
at an end.
almost. Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
he is
almost the end of the
still
movie.
a dick. He's still
No,
a
but you know
dickhead.
what? But he basically tries to rape the. He just basically tries to rape Stephanie.
He does.
I just couldn't. But look, if you think that's bad, where we're going is even worse.
Yeah. So that's look, that scene should have been the crescendo of the whole movie. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But there should have been. So, okay, this scene, Tony's in the car. His friends come out of the nightclub with Annette. And she asks one of them for drugs. And they're like, "Are you sure? I don't think you can take it." She's like, "Yeah, because she wants to just get in with the boys. She wants to get in. You just feel so bad for her." So she takes it. And she's sitting in the back car with 2 of the boys. The other one's sitting up the front with Tony and the Bobby, the idiot that goes, "I got my girlfriend pregnant." It's fucking driving. And they stop at the Brooklyn Bridge. And before they stop, one of the guys is in the back with Annette, and they start having sex consensually. And he said, "Oh, it's always good to be the first one." And you can see the look on her face change, and she's like, "Wait, what? What?" Because this is the guy that gave her the drugs, and she kind of likes him. And she's like, "What?" So they stop, and then and then he gets out, and then another guy gets in the back, and then starts having sex with her, like basically gangbanging her. And I was just like, "What the fuck am I watching?" It was horrible. It was just like
Yep.
I couldn't watch. She was crying, and Tony was sitting in the front seat watching, and he was doing nothing. He had no emotion on his face, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I want to throw this fucker off this fucking bridge." It was horrific. I mean, does anybody know that this scene is in this fucking movie? It doesn't need to be in there. And then there's this whole fucking sequence on the bridge, which I don't care about because I want all his friends and him to fucking die anyway. And I'm like, fall off. I will push you off this fucking bridge myself. And then his fucking friend, his little 4-foot friend that keeps going, I got my girlfriend pregnant, now I have to marry her. This fucking dweeb is falls off the bridge and dies. I don't care. I want them all to fucking die. And that was that fucking scene. So you can see how fucking riled up I am. That was unnecessary to have that in there. It was unfucking necessary to have that.
Yeah, that scene of you know of the gang bang in the back of the car with Tony not doing a fucking thing is completely unnecessary. And when Tony's idiot friend falls off the bridge, I'm like, "Hey, Tony, why don't you go fucking after him?" Because at this point, guys, I wanted to turn the movie off because I
Yeah.
was so fucking disgusted that Tony let this woman get raped by his friends in the back of the car, and this motherfucker did absolutely nothing. What the fuck, man? And and the fact that the writer of this movie kind of rewarded him for this fucking awful behavior, I'm like, seriously, guys. I was just like, Dean, why do fucking people like this movie? Because I was watching this movie, and this movie is fucking awful.
People like the movie for the dancing and the music. That's why.
But
They don't
okay,
remember
okay, okay.
because I told my mom and she doesn't
How can you
remember
not
any of
remember
this
this?
about the movie. She doesn't remember any of this. She just remembers the dancing and the music. People don't remember this shit from the movie.
Oh God, damn it!
I know, and when she's the guys are fucking doing what they're doing to her. He's just watching and she's crying and he looks at her and he goes, "Oh, are you happy with yourself now?" Oh my god, I wanted to
What
rip
the
his
fuck?
fucking head
Oh
off.
my
I actually wanted to
God!
rip his fucking balls off.
You,
I
you know
couldn't
what?
believe it.
You know what? You know what? I wanted to do. I wanted to do a Polarom from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I want to take his heart.
Oh, Kalima! Kalima! Yeah. Fuck yeah. Throw him into the pit
Yeah.
of the fucking fire lava shit. Yeah.
Yes, guys.
Fucking
Yeah.
hell.
Look. At this point, I was like, please, for the love of God, let this disaster end.
Well, there's only one more scene, folks, and then it's fucking over. So Tony goes to so his friend dies, and he's wandering the streets of New York, and he gets on a train, and he ends up in Manhattan, and he goes to Stephanie's house. And he goes, I want to, she won't open the door. And he goes, I want to apologize to you. And she goes, well, do I need to be scared? She's like, no, I'm not going to do nothing. Like, I've been wondering all night. I don't know what to do. So she lets him in and he sits down. And he basically says he wants more for his life. He doesn't want to go back to Brooklyn. He wants to stay here. He'll get a job. He'll do whatever it takes. And he tells her he wants to be friends with her only. And she kind of goes, can you handle that? And he says, yeah, I just want to be friends only. And then she takes his hand and hugs him, and the end. That's the fucking end. Does he deserve that? No, he fucking does not. He doesn't deserve that. Are you kidding me?
Yes. And folks, do you realize something? Do you realize that they just forget about Tony's family like halfway through this movie?
They forget about everything. No, because there's a scene. Listen, sorry. There's a scene that I forgot. I didn't forget. I didn't put it in because I didn't want to talk about it. It was the scene where they go and they. Do you remember way back at the beginning of the podcast where we're like, one of his friends comes up to him and says one of his other friends is in trouble? Well, they start a fight with random people and then they visit his friend in the hospital. That's it. That means nothing. Nothing comes back to anything. Nothing wraps around. Yeah. It's just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. I mean, this movie, when I was watching this movie, in preparation for this conversation, I was thinking to myself, what in God's name possessed?
Why did Dean pick this? Why is she doing this to me? I'm not apologizing because I had to endure it too, okay?
Okay, all right.
I suffered as well.
Okay. So with that, would you like to move on to your trivia?
This is going to be the best part of the whole fucking movie.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. John Travolta ran 2 miles per day and danced for 3 hours every day to get into shape for this. He lost 20 pounds. He was quite skinny. 20 pounds is about 10 kilos.
Yeah, he was very skinny. Yeah.
The iconic white suit John Travolta wore went for $145,000 at auction.
Wow.
Amazing. The original title for the film was Tribal Rights of the New Saturday Night.
What?
But they decided that's not going to work.
No, that's not going to work. So, Saturday Night Fever is a great title.
Oh, it's a great title. $2 million. The movie was made on a $2 million budget, and it grossed $237 million, and that's in 1977.
Oh wow!
So that's
and not the also not to mention the other movie that came out that year, but we're not going to talk about
that. Yes, Geekazoid. Okay. Yes, Star Wars Geekazoid. All right. Yeah. All right. And we've already fucking talked about Star Trek. Okay. Now you got to throw in Star Wars too. All right. All right. We get it. Star Wars 1977. We fucking get it. We get
it. Off you go. I'm sorry.
So this was actually really interesting. So when they filmed the movie, they hadn't actually got the Bee Gees on board yet. It was only after they'd filmed it. So every dance sequence in the movie that has the Bee Gees, John Travolta was actually not dancing to that music.
What was he dancing to?
He was dancing to Stevie Wonder and Motown music. And it's funny because when he saw the movie for the first time, he was like, what? I wasn't dancing to that.
Oh, so John Travolta wasn't aware that they got the Bee Gees?
Nope. Until he saw it.
Okay.
One last piece of trivia. The iconic dance pose with the pointing finger in the white suit. So John Travolta said how that came around. He said he was doing a photo shoot and it was at the end of the day, he was tired, the photographer was tired, they'd been doing this photo shoot for hours. And the photographer goes, John, just give me one more move, one more. And John was like, oh, yeah, all right. And he goes, and I just did that pointing pose. He took the photo and he goes, I couldn't believe it when they used that pose because I was half asleep when that was taken. And that pose came out of nowhere. He was just like, oh, I'm just going to do this because I'm tired and I want to go home. And they used it. So that's the iconic shot. That was an accidental shot.
Wow, that's amazing. But you know what? That does show you guys sometimes the best things in history come out of absolutely nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. That's the end of my trivia.
All right, guys. So that'll do it for this edition of the Mixtape Podcast. Listen, guys, if you like anything that we do here on the show and you want to reach out to us to tell us how great we are, if you have a request for us, or if you just want to reach out, or if you just want to reach out to us to tell us how much we suck, you can reach out to us by emailing us at themixtapepod@aol.com. But if you like us and you want to come back next week, next week we'll be covering the 1987 film Predator. So with all that being said and done for, uh, as I say often, if someone is kind enough to make you a mixtape, that must truly mean that they love you.
The Mixtape Podcast is a Balloonhead Productions presentation.